Eugenie, there's a slight difference in the way you started the match and the way you finished the match. Would you agree with that?
I would, but even though it was a little close in the first set, I still felt I was, very close to playing well. So I wasn't too worried. I knew it would click after, a few points or games, however long it took. So I'm happy that it did finally, and my shots were a lot freer in the second.
Can you figure out what it is inside you that enables you to finally click?
Well,
You would right from the beginning.
of course, the goal is to always, start as well as I can. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and you have to kind of figure a way out of it. I was just really trying to go for my shots. I think she got a lot of balls back and would hit a few good slices, and, it just took me a little bit of time to get used to that. And once I did, I was ready for it and was able to really move forward on her balls. So, it just took a little bit of time, but I'm happy I adapted and, really kind of move forward without looking back in the second.
Did you felt that you played better than the first match, or how would you assess your level of play compared to the first match?
I think I did play a little bit better, so I'm happy that it's improving. I think it was important for me to try close out some points at the net when I could, because she was getting a few balls back, and to really go for my shots a little bit more. When I was stepping in and being aggressive, I felt really in control, and that's always my goal.
When you have an error, you often will stop at the baseline, put your hands on your hips, look down. And I'm trying to figure out if that is a sort of attempt to collect yourself and move on, or whether you're giving yourself a talking to and then moving on.
Well, I always try to learn from what mistake I made and then as quickly as possible forget about it, which is much easier said than done. Sometimes it lingers a few points, but that's really what I'm trying to work on, is to, learn from it and then move on right away. Tennis players, we need to have short-term memory, and so I'm always kind of striving towards that. But I should probably do that a bit less, so you'll see less of the hands on the hips from now on.
Has it been a particular source of pride for you that you've been able to take your strengths to each surface now?
Yeah, I think I like all the surfaces, and, I don't feel like I can't perform on any of them, which is important seeing as we change surfaces throughout the year. But at the end of the day, I always say to myself, you know what, regardless of the surface, you still have to go play how you want to play, and anything can happen on any surface, and not try to make it too dependent on a surface, because it's still about me against my opponent, and that's how I see it. So the surface is important, but I don't see it as a huge thing.
Would you say adjustments that you make are very subtle then from surface to surface?
I would say so, yeah, exactly. I try to always keep my basic, idea of what I want to do on the court, and it's pretty similar from surface to surface. I change a few things, but, I still want to go out there and go for it and play the tennis I know I can play.
You get Pekovic in the next round, and obviously had a kind of a heartbreaking match against her at Charleston. So what do you think about that match and about that match being on grass?
Yeah, it's a rematch of Charleston. Looking forward to it. I know she's a really good fighter, and I've lost her a few times now, so I'm definitely going to be really motivated and just try to play my tennis, really try to take it to her.
Were you surprised by the court selection? You got kind of ahead of Ivanovic, who was on the court 3, and you were on court 2. And do you feel a bit also of people, you have had a good year, that you feel you become more popular here at Wimbledon?
Well, I hope so, with good results, you hope to have more fans and things like that, and I feel that from this year. In terms of the courts, well, yesterday they put Murray on court 1 and Dimitrov on center court, so they kind of mix it up, and it's out of my control, so I don't worry about it. But I love the court. I love all the courts at Wimbledon, so I won't complain. They can put me on court 19 and I'll be happy.
What do you remember about playing Pekovic at the Rogers Cup?
That was a long time ago. I remember it being a really big occasion for me at the time. It was my first wild card into the main draw at the Rogers Cup, so it was a big deal for me. I remember it was really close at the beginning, and I stayed with her, and then, in the end she kind of overpowered me a bit, but I learned a lot from that match. And, I think that's when she was playing really well. She was 10 in the world, so we've both come a long way since then, so I'm not going to think about that match or even the one in Charleston. You know, it's a new match on Saturday.
Take what you said about the subtle differences between the surfaces, but how much potential do you think you've got to become a better grass court player as the years go on?
I don't, yeah, so I don't, want to change too much from surface to surface, but I do like grass a little bit more, I think. When I'm not slipping and falling, I enjoy it. I think it suits my game and it rewards a player who takes it early and tries to move forward. And every time I go to the net, I have a pretty good, ratio of success. So I'm trying to do that more and more, and I think that'll, help me perform well on grass over the years.
Does it make much of a difference to you that the crowds are, like, compared to Australia with the chants and all that other stuff, and here it's might as well be in a church, sort of?
Well, for the Australians, they still have their, crazy Aussies. I don't know what they're called. I thought maybe they would kind of turn into my Genie army, but nope, that didn't happen. I think it's good to appreciate the difference. At Wimbledon, they're very polite and they respect the sport of tennis so much. So, it's very classy, and I think it's a nice change-up.
Any issues with the knee, or just that you slip at the match before and then you just...
Yeah, no issues. The tape was actually more of a hindrance than helping, so I ripped it off, and my knee didn't hurt at all. So I don't think I'll tape it from now on. But it was just kind of a preventative thing to make sure it didn't get worse or something, but it feels good.
Canadian tennis has seemed to really have come on in the last few years. What do you put that down to?
Luck. I think a few of us have done well around the same time, and I think that's a happy coincidence. For example, me or Milos and Vasek, we've all come from completely different backgrounds and have succeeded in completely different ways. So I wouldn't pinpoint a specific common fact, but I think it's a good thing. It's good timing, and I think because of that, the popularity has grown in Canada. And, I hope I can help to make it continue to grow.
How hard was it to, not hard, but to wait, because you were the second match, and then because of Tsonga, you came the third match, and the first match was a 5-setter, so how was your day in terms of waiting?
It was a really kind of crazy day. It's I've never been put in a situation like this, because I basically had to deal with 2 fifth-setters, so it was super weird. I warmed up I don't even know how many times waiting for it, and but that's the sport. That's part of what makes tennis tough is the scheduling. It's not like hockey or basketball where in 3 months they know what city and at what time they're going to play. Us, it's like anything goes because there's no time limit, which is a great thing for tennis, so I'm not going to complain. But yeah, the men's fifth setters, I was just happy it wasn't like an Isner Mahut thing, but both matches had that possibility, so it just became comical in the end as well, because I know Gasquet had like 10 match points and I was just sitting there watching him like, come on, man. But it's how it goes, It makes for good stories after.
You watch
Time for one more question. Has anybody has another go yet? Okay.
Did you watch Tsonga match as well, or no? You were already in your preparation.
Well, I started warming up as soon as that match went on, because you never know. It could have been 2 games, and so warming up, watching the points. Okay, kind of constantly staying warm, and then when it got close, getting more warm. When it was a hold, okay, relax for a few points. Kind of an on and off thing, and it was just not really stressed because we're at Wimbledon, but it's how it goes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.